You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
It's time to spin round the rim. This is Desert Planet Discs. Star Wars music in a single file. Here are your hosts, Carl Bayless and Greg Robertson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, droids, to another episode of Desert Planet Discs and another special episode of Desert Planet Discs, an interview special with a difference. We are joined this week to plug a forthcoming album from the mighty, mighty Blues Harvest. This is Greg here, joined as always by my partner in crime, Carl Bayless.
Good evening. How are we doing?
All good, sir. How are you, sir?
Yes, not too bad, not too bad. And yeah, really excited about tonight's episode. Band that I've seen several times now and never cease to amaze me with not only their sheer ingenuity in song choices, but the braveness of some of those song choices. Because having been in bands myself for many, many years, there are songs there that I just go, I wouldn't touch that. No, you shouldn't go anywhere near those. So without further ado, let us introduce the guys from Blues Harvest.
Evening, guys. How you doing?
Hello.
Tell us about yourselves and where you come from.
Yes. Hello,
Hi, guys.
caller. Who are you and where are you from?
Hi guys, I'm Andy, also known as General Grievous, and I play drums in Blues Harvest.
I'm Jess, and I'm also known as Bass Windu, and play the guitar, obviously.
I'm Nick, also known as Lapty Nick, and I sing and play the guitar in Blues Harvest.
Welcome, guys. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes, welcome. And may I say, having heard the upcoming album, Made in Space, it is absolutely brilliant.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
It is a very, very true representation of you guys live, which I'm guessing is exactly what you're aiming for. But as I say, some musicians would class as very brave choices in songs to tackle.
What do you mean by that, Carl? Explain yourself.
Yeah, stuff like the Rosanna Shuffle, which as a drummer scares the living daylights out of me.
Oh, okay.
So
You're obviously not Andy.
anybody that is prepared to take that on, I sort of bow down and hero worship. And then
It's either brave or stupid, I don't know.
Yeah. to quote the Spinal Tap line, there's a very fine line between clever and stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even stuff, you got so many iconic tracks in your repertoire. Immigrant Song, for example, which, outside of Led Zepp tribute bands is probably shied away from a little bit. So tackling those sort of songs is commendable.
Absolutely.
And
Thanks.
and to say you guys nail it is an understatement. So
Yeah.
Thanks, Carl.
Well, there are tricks of the trade, Carl. that
Very
we employ.
very tight trousers.
Back in the day, perhaps, but no. On Immigrant Song in particular, we bolster our non-Robert Plant vocals by getting Andrew, the keyboardist, to play along with with those bits.
Yeah.
So like he thickens it up with his keyboard, so it sounds a little bit more powerful than perhaps we could get without him. So it's little tricks like that make us-
But it's all good. It's all good. So rewinding a little bit, or perhaps a lot, for people who aren't familiar with the band and sort of where you came from, tell us a little bit about how the band came together and the original sort of vision for the band, if you like.
Yeah, go for it, Andy.
Okay, so we actually we used to do our own podcast before we even were a band together. The three of us, me, Nick, and Jess, along with Jess's brother, who also used to be in a band, Sham. We used to do a podcast called Droppings Science, which is almost as hard to say as Blues Harvest. So we used to just meet every week and just chat about nerdy things. We're all musicians anyway, and the Star Wars Fan Fun Day rolled around, and that's an amazing event in Burnley, not too far from where we lived at the time. And there was an opportunity for some musicians to play at their Dinner with the Stars. So we had the idea of like, shall we just throw some songs together and see if we can get this gig? And that was back in 2013, so a long time
Totally
ago.
worth it. Well, we were playing to Darth Vader, right?
Yeah, Dave Price was there. Julian Glover saw around 3 minutes of our set before he had to leave for some reason. Jeremy Bullock was there. It was amazing. It was like our first gig, bit of a trial by fire because we were performing in front of some of our heroes from Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's where we came up with songs like our version of Superstition, which we now know as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where it all came about.
Yeah, and also the sort of nature of the music. Were you gonna jump in there, Jess?
No, go for it.
What I was gonna say is like the direction of the band kind of came from sort of necessity because we had to pull together this set kind of quickly. So we were all sort of saying, well, what songs do we all know? So everybody knew Sunshine of Your Love by Cream and what's this? Oh yeah, and Crossroads, the Eric Clapton version of Crossroads and stuff like that. So we just said, well, why don't we just play those songs? And then because it's the Fan Fun Day, on the idea of changing the words just to fit the show. So that's how that all got started.
Yeah, and didn't we blow out the sound and the lights?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That first gig.
That's always good.
Yeah, frozen the set.
So
we played quite well.
So we had a walkout from Julian Glover, blew the sound and the lights. Great start, guys.
That's it.
I also remember when we were trying to decide on a band name before we got around to Blues Harvest. We were throwing all sorts of pun-based Star Wars names. Some of the alternates were things like the Boba Fett Shop Boys.
Oh, nice.
What else did we have, guys?
Chewie Lewis and the News.
You didn't realise you're going to start seeing these crop up as rival.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Well,
one was.
There is a whole thread of them.
I was really keen on Jabba, spelt like ABBA. You know.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Nice.
We should have called ourselves that.
Yeah,
We should have.
I remember, Jesse, your suggestion of Jabba the Smiths just really cracked me up.
Yeah. I don't know why I came up with that one. I just like really silly things, and that couldn't have gotten much sillier.
Yeah. But yeah, we ended up with Blues Harvest, obviously referenced the shooting title of Return of the Jedi.
Indeed.
You guys know that, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also a reference to our, I guess, bluesy roots with some of the songs that Nick was just talking about.
Yeah.
They're very fitting.
Cool. And talking about those sort of roots and influences, the next track we're going to play, which is again from the soon-to-be available Made in Space, caught the attention of one Mr. Mark Hamill.
That's
Indeed.
right.
Indeed. Tatooine Sunset. As a big Kinks fan himself, I don't know whether he picked it up independently or he was played it by somebody, but I recall seeing the tweets of like, yes, this is awesome.
Magnificent.
Magnificent. There you go.
I've actually, just by coincidence, happened to have the tweets open in front of me. So,
I just happen to have them printed out, pasted on my wall.
I actually do have them printed out on a mug.
Yeah, where's the
Brilliant. Brilliant.
But, no, he said, magnificent. The original King's classic has always moved me to tears, and now I declare this as my official, unofficial Luke theme song.
There we go. So let's
Much better praise than that.
no. So without further ado, let's have a listen to what Mark got all het up about.
This next tune we played for Mark Hamill. He liked it. Hope you like it. Dirty old planet of moisture farmer, fixing droids through the night. Oh, power converters from Toshi Station, speed of lights shine so bright. And I don't need no prayer, as long as I gaze on binary sunsets, they are on Tatooine. Every day is a look at the world from my homestead. Chilly, chilly is the evening time. Tatooine sunset's fine. Solo meets Chewie at the cantina. They seem alright to me, but you'll never find them more wretched Ivor, Scum and villainy. And they don't need no friend, as long as they gaze on binary sunsets, they are on Tatooine. Every day is a look at the world from my homestead. Chilly, chilly is the evening time. Tatooine sunset's fine. Millions of Jawas and Tusken Raiders swarming the Jumbling waste. But Solo and Chewie cross over the Dune Sea, where there'll be sound and free. And they don't need no friend,
Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That was Tatooine Sunset, the Mark Hamill approved official, unofficial Luke Skywalker song.
I'm Gareth Edwards, and you're listening to Fantha Tracks Radio.
Taking things forward, so obviously the band kicked off 2013 Star Wars Fan Fun Day. Going to skip forward a few years to the year 2016 and a little show that you guys played at a venue called the O2 Arena, Brooklyn Bowl, with a band called Ash, I believe. Tell us about #Cantina, how that all came about, and experiences from that.
Well, hang about. There was another band as well.
There was another band there.
Trying to remember what.
The one with the really handsome singer, the really dazzlingly handsome, chiseled Sideburn.
That's the one.
Wasn't that Dave Collins?
Oh, David Collins.
Oh, yeah, actually, yeah.
Elliot Hansen, wasn't it? DJ Elliot?
Yeah.
Mark Daniels.
How?
Interestingly enough, Mark Daniels who kicked off the show.
Indeed.
Yeah. How did we get in contact with Martin? How did that happen?
So it was when they announced Star Wars Celebration was going to be in London. I posted on, I think there's a Facebook group called the Brit List. I just posted on there and I said if anyone's organising any parties or if any events are going on around Star Wars Celebration, we're a band in the UK, we'd love to get involved. And almost immediately got a message from one Martin Keeler, who introduced himself, explained that he was putting together a show and that he already had Darth Elvis on board. And then so I said, yeah, I would be interested. And then he followed that up with a phone call explaining that it was maybe a little bit bigger of a show than it made out and that Ash were going to be headlining. So, yeah.
Yes, the best kept, worst kept secret.
Yeah, they called themselves Luther Ingo Star Cruiser.
Star
and all
Cruiser,
of the,
yes.
Yeah, which is one of their B-sides. So anyone Googling that would have found that out easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a show. What an amazing show.
Yeah, you had David Collins on stage jamming along with you.
Yeah.
How did that happen? I forgot how we got in touch with David. Did we just reach?
I think he's Andy again.
Again, I just see. I just got in touch. I think I'd already had him as a friend on Facebook through listening to his show. I don't think he was doing the soundtrack show then, but he was doing his Star Wars Oxygen on
Oxygen,
radio, so,
which was brilliant.
Indeed,
absolutely brilliant,
fantastic stuff.
So yeah, I got in touch with David and asked if he was going to be there and if he wouldn't mind getting up with us and doing a song, and he absolutely jumped at the chance, and then we were sort of taken aback because it was like, oh right, okay.
Damn, he said yes.
And also, like, even right up until the actual show itself, like, we knew that he was obviously very knowledgeable about music. That was obvious, and we knew that he could play a little bit of keyboards because he played it on Oxygen, but we had no real idea as to whether he would be any good at being on stage. And holy smokes!
Oh yes,
he came on stage.
Yes,
I think the first thing he did was come on the drums. Is that right? Was that the
No,
first?
he came on with. Remember we did the Imperial March, and he came on and did the blues. We did a track called Blues Milk. When he messaged me back, I said, like, do you fancy playing? He said, yeah, I'll play guitar and sing and play drums. Just go with the
not all at the same time. Not all at the same time. Although I wouldn't have put it past him, to be fair.
Yeah, so he got on. We did Blues Milk with him playing guitar and Nick was singing that one, and then he got on the drums for our version of Death Star.
And he was a monster.
I actually have somewhere from that gig. I was literally side of the stage.
Nice.
Sort of behind the speakers, just filmed David just playing, because I was a massive fan of Star Wars Oxygen. I think that was the first time I'd seen you guys as well, so I was like, oh, these guys are brilliant. And then Dave Collins gets up. I'd spoken to him beforehand, him and his wife, and I was like, oh, absolutely love Star Wars Oxygen, and they were lovely. And I was like, he said, oh, I'm getting up and doing a bit, and I was like, really? He said, oh yeah. He said, I'm going to do a couple of songs. I was like, cool. So then I sort of got to the side of the stage, sort of just out behind the PA stack, and so I've got the whole of him playing that from literally just side on, playing the drums, and it, as you say, it was phenomenal.
I think drums are his first instrument,
Yeah.
So it turns out, and you can tell.
Yeah.
That night was a really special one.
Yes.
It was like it was the first time. Well, not the first time, because we'd been involved in the Fan Fun Day, and that's always had a special place in our heart, because it's kind of where it all coalesced, you know. But like that celebration 2016, it's the first celebration I'd ever been to, and then on top of that, like it was a really nice summer as well. And then the show itself was it had all the trappings of everything that you want. When you're in a small band, it did everything that you want to do. When you're in a small band, it does all those things that you wish you could do. So like, you know, play on a good stage, have a fantastic sound, have an enormous crowd, you know, and a crowd that not only enjoys the music, but gets it, you know what I mean? Like, it gets everything about, you know, the heart behind it, and holy smokes. And then on top of that, like, the bit that that took me by surprise was that the Ash part of it. Ash just blew the lid off that place, and you sort of forget how many bona fide hits they had, you know. Like, it was just hit after hit after hit after hit for the whole hour and a half. It was incredible. So what a night. Incredible.
And it was our first time hanging out with Darth Elvis.
Yes.
It was indeed, yeah.
I was going to say, the friendships that were made that night, I think, is one of the best things about it. It's obviously Martin and meeting yourselves and everything that night was great. And obviously, here we are 4 years later, and still talking to each other.
We all still talk to each other. Who'd have thought it?
I remember, like, backstage, like, talking with you guys, and, like, I can't remember if I already knew that you were from Aberdeen. I don't think I did.
No.
I was like, where are you guys from? And I could, like, hear it from the accent. And then when you get to Aberdeen, I was like, I'm from Aberdeen! You know, and you were painting Pete's face, and it was just like, what is this band? You know, oh, it was brilliant.
It was a surreal night, wasn't it? And then some of the stuff going on backstage as well. Obviously, we both got interviewed for a potential TV show, which
Jamie Stangroom.
Yeah.
Oh, was that him?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
That was for the Kevin Smith, Greg Grunberg TV.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
But sadly, it wasn't to be. But one day down the line, it will happen again, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, as an audience member that night, it was, say, from being in bands myself, it's one of those things where you go to gigs and you know yourself that a regular gig, you've got people who are there to see the headliner, and there's a percentage of the crowd that will take notice of the warm-up or support acts, but generally crowds can be a bit apathetic before the sort of the main attraction. But that, from the word go, I mean, I got down to the O2 because I was stopping in Greenwich, which was like a short bus ride, and I think I got down to the O2 at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and the queue had started, and it was like, okay, and I didn't really know what to expect. Again, my first celebration, didn't really know any of the guys, Greg or Martin or anything at the time, so it was just a case of, I've got a ticket to this gig. It sounds like it's going to be really good. Yeah, so I rocked up, and I think I was about third or fourth in the queue. Got talking to the guys that were in front, and when more people arrived behind me, and sort of bumped into a couple of them again around celebration over the next couple of days. But it was just this sort of sense of anticipation of, this is going to be ace, and the merch stalls were doing great business. You know, as soon as everybody sort of burst in as if it was celebration, ran to the merch tables, were buying posters and t-shirts, and I think I've got a piece of artwork that was like a limited edition piece of artwork that somebody had done. I can't remember who.
Well, I was going to say, we sell Nick Brokenshires.
I think it was part of the Biker Scout project thing. So it was all different themed Biker Scout.
Yeah. I remember I made some posters for the merch stand that were some of the Black Series 6-inch figures and the instruments from some of my Muppet Show figures.
I found that the other day, that poster.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
I think I've got a Darth Elvis poster from then, which is obviously before I knew Greg. And I'd pre-ordered my T-shirt, so I have the limited edition Luther Ringo Star Cruiser T-shirt. As well.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It says Ash, and it glows in the dark. It's always useful if anybody loses me at a gig.
Brilliant.
It was great. Obviously, the day after that, going to the first day of celebration and walking around, people stopping you. And, you know, Martin was getting stopped left, right, and center, saying how good it was. It was just a great way to kick off celebration.
Yeah.
So good. Coming up next, we have another track taken from Made in Space, Chewbacca. Tell us about this one, guys, before we kick in.
We wanted an excuse to play a Toto song, really. So.
You don't need an excuse to play a Toto
No,
song.
I guess not.
And obviously, at the time, you couldn't have picked Babu Africa.
Oh, that's even
shit.
by our low standards, Carl. That is pretty shocking.
Andy, there's an opening for a new presenter on Desert Planet Disc.
But yeah, no, obviously Rosanna, what an amazing tune. And I remember thinking like, could we do Chewbacca? I think I suggested it to Nick, and then the next day we had lyrics and we started rehearsing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hard one to say yes to simply because of Toto.
Yeah.
And then the lyrics came together, I thought, really well.
Let the Wookiee dance is stuck in my head for whenever I hear you guys play it. That's stuck in my head for days. I'll be walking about the street. Let the Wookiee win.
That was a piece of genius from Andy. That was a really, like, I came up with the verses and we couldn't quite figure it out, and then Andy came up like the Wookiee win bit, and that was there we go.
That's it. Magic. Magic.
Cool. Well, here it is.
Here it is, Chewbacca.
In the Falcon is see you there. Chewbacca, Chewbacca. Didn't know that a Wookiee like you could ever be first mate. Chewbacca. All I wanna do in the Millennium Falcon is hold on tight. Chewbacca, Chewbacca. Didn't know you were married and had a little fuzzy kid. I'll get you home before Life Day. Chewbacca, yeah. To Kashyyyk and your family. Let the Wookiee win. Let the Wookiee win. Chewbacca, yeah. Let the Wookiee win. Let the Wookiee win. Chewbacca, yeah. I can see your hairy face on the other side of the carpet. Chewbacca, Chewbacca. Didn't know that a Wookiee like you could ever smell so bad. Chewbacca. All I wanna tell you is now you have to look after the princess. Chewbacca, Chewbacca. Didn't know that Covenant could ever hurt so bad. I'll get you home before Life Day. Chewbacca, yeah. To Kashyyyk and your family. Let the Wookiee win. Let the Wookiee win. Chewbacca, yeah. Let the Wookiee win. Let the Wookiee win. Chewbacca, yeah. Mr. Andrew Bumper, the keys. I'll get you home before light day. Chewbacca, yeah. To Kashyyyk and your family. Let the Wookiee win. Let the Wookiee win. Chewbacca, yeah. Let the Wookiee win. Let the Wookiee win. Chewbacca, yeah. Let the Wookiee win. Let the Wookiee win. Chewbacca, yeah. Let the Wookiee win. Let the Wookiee win. Chewbacca,
Chewbacca there from the album Made in Space. So after Cantina and Celebration, obviously that put you on the radar of Disney. In the next couple of years in between then and now, you had a couple of other rather, should we say, high-profile appearances, starting with a gig at Disneyland Paris.
Absolutely, that's right. What year was it?
2018.
2018. And again, it was another Martin Keeler helped us out with that gig as well.
It was another Martin Keeler joint.
Yeah.
It is another Martin Keeler joint. If you know Martin Keeler, you'll know that he really, really likes Disneyland. Like, really
Just a bit. Just a bit.
And to be honest, I'm not going to tell you the story of how exactly we got the gig because I don't precisely know. I just know that he was visiting a lot and he happened to be chatting to the right people, and eventually we got asked to go over and play. So off we trotted on our way, taking trains and more trains to get there, basically, which was an ordeal, but it was totally worth it.
There's footage of it on the Fantha Tracks website, on the YouTube channel, and
Yes.
it does look absolutely amazing.
So, I mean, at this point, we were playing, I guess it was a year or two after a lot of the Marvel movies were kind of swinging, I guess. And the music from those would definitely captured our attention simply because that's the music we were playing. We were being attracted towards, conventions and stuff. We love comics and we love music. So it kind of worked in our favour very well. And I think that did help us onto that, I guess, the next bit of our musical journey. And then going to Disneyland, we then had a repertoire of songs that were related to things that Disney liked to do. But actually, there wasn't a lot of music there from those movies. So I think Martin was onto something. And so we headed over there and filled that void.
And it was also around that time that, or a little bit earlier, that Sham, our first guitarist, he left, and Adam came on board, our other guitarist, and he brought another dimension in that he could sing quite very well as well. So suddenly that we were able to attack more difficult tunes, and a lot of the tunes that were being looked at in the Marvel movies and stuff kind of needed more vocal stuff that I wasn't completely capable of doing. So in comes Adam, and we have like another dimension. And then as well as that, Andrew, the keyboardist, joined because Matthew, the previous guy, had to leave. So Andrew brought a whole new energy to the band, a real upbeat quality to things. So yeah, that year leading up to Disney, the few months leading up to Disney was a time of quite rapid change for us. But then it just kind of steamrollered after that, really, for a while.
Yeah.
Just going back to Jesse, you were talking about the Marvel movies. Do you remember on the way down to Paris, we had an overnight stay in London, and we all went and watched Infinity War?
Oh, yeah.
Because Adam hadn't seen it. And we somehow found the worst cinema in London.
Yeah.
But we
was that with help from Martin?
Yeah. No. So we did that, and then we did a gig at Disneyland, and then stayed over in a Disney hotel, and then we got to spend an afternoon in the park itself before heading home. So it was just just an amazing weekend.
It was magical.
It was magical. It was a different sort of. We weren't sure what to expect because by that point we've played at a few conventions, but not that many like standalone gigs. And this show was just us in a Disney bar playing. It was a Wild West themed bar, so it wasn't even like a spaceport bar or anything like that. So we had a little bit of apprehension as to how it was going to go across, and especially with a largely non-English speaking audience as well. But went down an absolute storm. And
especially with Snow White.
Yeah.
Don't forget the Seven Dwarfs.
Yeah. Snow White was there. Aladdin was there.
Seven Dwarfs mosh pit.
Yeah.
It's funny though. Like I've told this story a few times, but there were a few of the cast from Disney at the show, and really letting their hair down and interacting with us and dancing about and singing. And afterwards, we talked to them. And hi, I'm Aladdin, and this is Snow White, and blah blah. And they were like really loving it, really loving it. And then the next day when we were out in the park, we did the whole park, and we would bump into them, and they would not acknowledge us.
Yes.
Like we'd be like, hey, how's it going? And they'd be like, oh, hello, it's very nice to see you. And being character. Yeah. And like they would not break character despite the fact that we'd been drinking loads of beers the night before.
It's because it wasn't the same people, Nick.
Oh, what's the
name? Shh.
It's different.
There's only one Mickey Mouse, honestly. So, fast forward from there to Celebration Chicago in Chicago.
The third in our Martin Keeler trilogy of...
Indeed. Indeed.
You should subtitle this one, Blues Harvest, the Martin Keeler story.
He's already charging us naming rights.
You should do
we're
every episode, I think.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty soon. It's going to be Desert Planet Discs in association with Martin Keeler.
Sponsors of the Zuvium.
Yeah.
We're actually changing the name. We might as well announce it today. We're the Martin Keeler Experience.
I remember when we did that Cantina gig, and I was chatting to Martin about what the gig was going to be. He always said, I want it to be like the bashes that they have in America for Star Wars Celebration. That was his aim for that Cantina gig. And then when that went well, he started making inroads with the sort of people that put on the big bashes. And then slowly but surely, the Chicago happened. Yeah, what an amazing event. Our first gig in the States.
Yeah.
Our first Star Wars Celebration in the States. 3,000 people.
Chicago.
First time in Chicago. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And you got to play with some fairly stellar guests as well. The mystery dancing Porg, of course, who to this day remains nameless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Jet Lucas, Vanessa Marshall, and some other guy. Darth something or other. Yes. Oh, I've been paid to say a particularly handsome extra.
It was Darth Conga.
Darth Conga. Yes. Again, go on YouTube and you'll see lots of footage of the. Was it Night at Canto Bight? I think it was.
Night at Canto Bight. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an incredible night. Again, like in a different way from the one in London, because the way that they set it up, like Canto Bight, like a giant casino, and it was really magical. It was really magical. And then on top of that, like Greg, you were doing the shows on your own by that point. So like we started to sort of cross-pollinate our sets a little bit. So you were able to come on stage, and like we could back you up, and it just became sort of like a Mardi Gras thing, Star Wars Mardi Gras. It was absolutely fantastic.
I'll never forget being in the audience before it was the start of the second set, I had the handheld mic and shouting like, oh, I think you were introducing me or something. Yeah,
I think you said something along the lines of hot dang. I think you might have.
That doesn't sound at all like Greg.
That conga line, that was, what a night. And Museum of Science and Industry, what an incredible venue to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, David Collins yet again. I was just going to say about Jet Lucas, because we'd invited Taylor Gray to come and join us, because we played with him before at the Star Wars Fan Fun Day when he was a guest there. And also Martin had got in touch with Vanessa Marshall, and so we had like a little bit of a Star Wars Rebels reunion on stage with us, which was great. When Taylor turned up, he just had Jet Lucas with him. Yeah. He texted me. He texted me and said, like, is it okay if Mike comes along? Yeah, he literally said, is it okay if I bring him? Like, I'm sure we'll get him on the guest list. And then he was like, yeah, this is Jet. and then we got a further surprise when Jet just appeared on stage with Vanessa and Taylor. We just distributed percussion instruments and did Hooks on a Feeling with them all. And it was
there you go.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
And David Collins was there again.
David Collins
once again,
doing his thing.
Busy as ever.
Yeah, he was the real rock star of the night, because he turned up just before his slot with us played and then left.
And he couldn't stay because he had to go home and work so he could present for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think even the Cantina gig, it was the same deal. He was so busy and had so much going on, but it was cool that he could just pop in and throw down a few tunes.
Yeah, amazing. There's also something incredible about doing those gigs that's the night before celebrations start, where the excitement is just unbelievable, especially on that one, because we did that show and then we went to Star Wars Celebration the next morning and saw the episode 9 panel, and they did that trailer for the first time, and that's the thing that everyone was really excited about as well. Like all the way through the gig, everyone was talking about, what's the title of the film going to be, and there's a really good bit at the end of our set where Nick, you're saying thanks to the audience, and you just reach your hands to the sky and go, episode 9 tomorrow! I just summed it all up for everyone.
Yeah. Oh,
capture the mood of the room.
Exactly.
The mood of the room. So, next track, which I'm sure featured in the set that night, is Obi-Wan Kenobi.
A crazy man. Obi-Wan Kenobi. The Force was in his hand. Yeah. 20 years of exile out to Tatooine. Communing with Qui-Gon and Yoda, he has been. The Padawan of a man called Qui-Gon, who died in his arms, 20 years of exile, out in Tatooine, communing with Qui-Gon and Yoda has been. When you believe in me, no one understands. that was just a crazy old man. Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Force was in his hand. 20 years of exile, watching Tatooine, communing with Qui-Gon, and Yoda is dead. When you believe in things one understands, and you suffer, Ben Kenobi was dead.
That was Obi-Wan Kenobi taken from Made in Space. So, guys, tell us where the title came from and give us a bit more information about where you recorded the album. And yeah, how did it all come about?
Well,
You want me to go first with the album
Yes.
title? Okay. I'm laughing because I was trying not to talk too much in this segment, but never mind. when we were trying to figure out a title for the album, I was looking at some of my favourite live albums of all time. You've got like The Who live at Leeds. Didn't really want to go with live at Preston.
Yeah.
But there's a classic Deep Purple album called Made in Japan,
Yes.
their Japanese store. I sort of combined that with Back to the Future, George McFly's novel, A Match Made in Space. So I ended up with Blues Harvest, Made in Space.
Yes.
And it kind of, even though it wasn't literally made in space, it's influenced by, I like to think, all
Well,
things.
it
space.
literally was made in space, Andy.
I guess so. I guess we all were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do-
Earth is part of space.
yeah. Prove me wrong.
So, Jess, whereabouts did you record the album? Where was it?
So we've been playing what we like to call the Blues Harvest Holiday Special around every Christmas time, a few days before Christmas usually, just to, I don't know why it came about at that time particularly. I think we were just looking for a gig, and we played at the Continental in Preston, which is a great little venue, lovely pub, great beer. You should go there if you visit Preston because it's nice. So we played our first year there, and it was a nice little vibe. It was kind of nippy outside, but there was, it's a nice toasty little venue with quite a big room at the back for live music, so it was perfect for us. And then that just went from strength to strength. Like the year after that, we'd sold it out, and then after that, we had no problems with that kind of place, which was wonderful. And this year, we decided, I think, to record it because we've been doing it a few years, and it would be nice to document it. And also, the music that I guess made the album and the set that we played was an amalgam, a culmination of 7 years of playing lots of Comic Cons and kind of just fun gigs, and we were just trying to capture some of that. Part of the reason of it being a live album as well was to capture that, and rather than go for a recorded album where there's some covers, there's some other stuff, and we didn't see where the interest in Blues Harvest in that context was. But live, I think we were really keen to do that and let people see.
Yeah, and it is a really good document of the band at a particular point in time and space.
Yeah.
And, having been at the show, it certainly captures the energy of a Blues Harvest show.
Yes.
Beautifully.
Excellent.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it was. That's one of the hardest things about making that album was just trying to actually capture the sound of a live gig. It's really, really difficult because you've got all your microphones and everything are all on one stage. Normally in a studio, there's lots of separation. You can do things to kind of isolate instruments to get nice, clear sound. But live, everything's happening and being poured into all the mics all at the same time. So it's easy for the thing to just turn into a bit of a noise, but we found that we got just the right balance of that live brashness with quite, a reasonably tight recorded sound.
Yeah.
So I'm really pleased with the way it turned out.
Yeah,
And we can blow the power out in the venue.
always good. Again,
That helps.
again, coming full circle.
Yeah.
So,
And Greg was there as well.
Yes, absolutely.
We might do some bonus tracks down the line. Who knows?
Ooh.
Some stuff with
Teaser.
Elvis.
Yeah.
Caesar
My hard drive.
for the Japanese release.
Yeah.
Starfell is huge in Japan.
Yes.
Uh,
Did you guys actually record it all yourselves?
Yeah, we set up a load of mics all around the stage and got a couple of lineouts from the desk and some room mics for the audience as well. And then me and Nick have been passing each other Cubase projects back and forth. And yeah, that's
Again, as a veteran of bands myself, capturing a good sound of the band, a good mix of the audience, and the energy that you have in a live show. That's always, even with a studio album, you want to try and capture some of that to try and make it a representation of what you sound like, because that's what people are used to. But for a live album, that is the crux of it. Made in Space does that in spades.
Thank you.
It really does capture the fun, the excitement, and the whole vibe of being at a live show, which of course at the moment none of us can do.
No.
yeah.
And I think that's why the timing of it was great as well, because whilst we've been locked down as well, like Andy and Nick putting together and finishing off and putting finishing touches to the actual recording, and I'm pleased that we can get it out and at least give people something close to live music.
This was actually our last gig before all of this. Like, we've not done a gig as a full band since we recorded Made in Space.
No.
Which is crazy because it seems like so long ago now.
Yeah.
Wow.
there we go. Bit of
moving swiftly on.
Yeah, bit of self-realization there, and everybody freaks out. Okay.
Obviously, we've been focusing on the Star Wars tracks from the album for the show. What other tracks are on the album?
We've got a few Star Wars tracks. We've also got our version of the Doctor Who theme, the Avengers, Immigrant Song, Hooked on a Feeling, and Mr. Blue Sky, all from Marvel Cinematic Universe. And then we always like, even though it's not really a geek film, Footloose is such an amazing tune that we play it at almost every gig that we've done.
And everyone's favourite science fiction movie, let's face it.
I guess so, yeah. And Ghostbusters and Power of Love as well. They're all on the album.
We sort of thought, even though our set has evolved over the years, we decided to go with some of the good old mainstays. It shows what the first few years of I nearly said Los Vencidos of Blues Harvest of Blues Harvest were all about, and that's really pleasing because, like, hopefully we can do another album soon with all the new songs that we've learned. So have a bit of progression.
Cool. Touching on Ghostbusters, through playing the convention circuit, you've not only played with some Star Wars luminaries, but also people from a couple of other properties, and namely one Ray Parker Jr.
Yes.
Yep. That was a good day.
I'm gonna say that must have been awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming people know who Ray Parker Jr. is, but he is the guy that performed Ghostbusters, and I'm assuming people know what else he did, but as musicians, that's what really, we love Ghostbusters, but Ray Parker Jr. played James Jamerson, who is the Motown bassist, and has played on Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder records, and somehow found his way playing with Blues Harvest. So
pinnacle of his career, some would say.
Yeah.
I mean, things were going so well that he decided he'd take a chance. We had the opportunity. He was appearing somewhere we were playing, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
it really was. It was fireworks on stage, wasn't it? Like, we didn't need actual fireworks. We just had Ray Parker Jr. and we had cosplayers, like Ghostbusters cosplayers, and they all sort of marched onto the stage behind us, and then so we were flanked by Ghostbusters while playing Ghostbusters, and Ray Parker, who is super cool, like in person, quite a sort of super cool person to talk to, and he just took it away, just took it in his stride. He sang it perfectly, that sort of super mellow voice. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
And hearing him play guitar, he's got a very, he's got his own style and his own way of playing and picking, and and it was fun looking over my shoulder and seeing Ray Parker Jr. singing and not it for a change.
Yeah.
For something like that, do you get any sort of pre-rehearsal?
Well, that all fell apart.
We had a couple of issues on the day. We managed to squeeze in one run through with Ray just during our sound check because he was doing interviews.
Yeah,
it was at the end of a day of a convention, so he was busy. But there's footage online of us doing our one run through with him because some of the other guests came down to see what was going on. So in this footage, you can see two of the kids from Stranger Things. Just like sitting right in front of the camera, just like nodding their heads and enjoying the show.
Cool.
It was Dustin and Caleb McLaughlin.
It's Caleb, yeah. Because Dustin, what's his name now? That's the
Gayton,
yeah. Gayton's band also played that night as well,
cool.
So they were on just after us.
Work in Progress, they're called, and they brought the pizzas.
They bought.
There you go. Always important. Keep the band.
They were a good band.
They were a good band.
Yeah,
they're a good band, and they bought pizza.
And they're good planners. So, I mean, I think we need to take a moment and just say that they, before the gig, had already bought the pizzas, and then after the gig, all of a sudden pizzas appeared, and we were all welcome to them. So they were a good band, and they were great planners.
Always good. Have somebody in your band that can organise and order pizza.
Yeah.
Go on, Nick. You were going to say something about Gayton.
Just that, because it's him, his sister, and his brother, and another fella, and they were legitimately talented people. Like Gayton can really sing, and his little sister can sing. His brother is a demon drummer.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Hey, Carl, you were talking about the Jeff Porcaro shuffle.
Yeah.
This kid. Oh my God!
Don't get me started.
We sound checked with Chewbacca, and he saw me do my little rendition of it, and then they just came on and sound checked, and he just ripped into the Porcaro shuffle.
I can do this.
I had to shake his hand afterwards. I was like,
yeah. Yeah, I licked your pizza while you were outside. Bless.
You mentioned fireworks there, Nick. I remember seeing you guys play at the same venue the year after, and literally fireworks on stage.
Oh yeah.
Fearing for your lives as watching these flames blow up in front of your faces. Like, wow.
Yeah, you just don't realise how hot those things are.
Oh,
yeah.
On stage pyros, yes.
Yeah. It's surprising how warm a large fireball can be.
Yes.
A pillar of fire. Yeah.
No, so we'd be playing, and I think we were given a warning for that gig as well. It was like, guys, here's a little chat. Okay, so when the pyro's on, don't stand near it. All right, fine. How will we know it's on? Well, you'll know it's on. Okay,
you'll see a column of fire. Don't stand near that.
But yeah, and the more you try and get into the music and play the song, the less of an eye you're keeping on the pyro. And then before you know it, your eyebrows are gone.
Whoa! And moving on with celebrity interaction, bang up to date, May the 4th this year, you issued, although you've been very busy in lockdown as a band with some of the Brian May covers, which have been absolutely brilliant, and would urge all of our listeners to go out and check out the stuff you've been doing online during lockdown. But one particular track of note, which I think we mentioned in the last episode as well, Greg,
Yeah.
for May the 4th was a cover, again, another, what some people would class as brave, some people would class as foolhardy. A cover of Pink Floyd's Comfortably Numb, as I say, which is not a cover that many bands would go into lightly, but then featuring the one and only Nine Numb himself, Mike Quinn, on guest vocals. So how did that all come about?
Well,
Andy.
we started doing the...
Andy emailed somebody again.
Hi, guys. Actually, Mike emailed me on this occasion.
Well,
it's come full circle.
I think he'd seen us in Edinburgh. Like, we'd played the what's it called again?
Capital Sci-Fi Con. We did
Capital
the
Sci-Fi
show there.
Yeah,
He was also at the Ray Parker Jr. gig. He was
right.
at that sound check. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheffield as well, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah. So he, I mean, we know him anyway. We're friends with him, but like he sort of had cottoned on to what our deal was, and then he contacted Andy.
Yeah, because he's actually mentioned it before as well. He sort of wistfully said, I've always wanted to do Comfortably Numb. Once we started doing the lockdown sessions, and he saw what we've been up to and what we can do, which they came about as much as a way of just keeping us sane during lockdown as anything else, as well as having content to put out. But I've very luckily finished work on a home recording studio and drum room just before lockdown, so it meant that we can actually record and carry on working together remotely throughout all this. So yeah, once Mike saw a few of the videos that we'd already put out, he said, "Do you fancy having a go?" And so yeah, foolishly, well, yeah, no, it turned out great. Mike's done a great job on it as well, and there's a little cameo at the end of the video from the actual Nine Numb mask as well, which is really fun to see.
So we'll play out with Blues Harvest featuring Mike Quinn with Comfortably Numb.
Before you play it, I have to interject. We forgot to mention one key person in the evolution of Blues Harvest, and that is Steve Costantino.
Yes.
He was someone that came to one of the Fan Fun Days early on in our trajectory, and it was really him that kind of even gave us the idea of starting to reach out to other people to get involved, because he was a tremendous player, and like we bonded with him. We bonded on a musical level, and since then we've become really good friends, and we're about to work with him again. But really, he's the one that sort of got the ball rolling, really, isn't he, Andy and Jess?
Yeah.
He was performer zero, basically.
Yeah.
So we played the Fan Fun Day, and then he really enjoyed himself, and we obviously enjoyed it ourselves too. And I think 2 or 3 days later, he popped back to Preston for an open mic, and we all got together again and played for another hour or something, which was great fun.
Yeah.
As a much louder band in a pub rather than it being a dinner. So we really got to have a good time cutting loose with Stephen.
So yeah, sorry about that interjection, but it just occurred to me. We've not mentioned Stephen.
So yeah, look out for a Stephen Costantino video coming soon.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. There you go, folks, exclusive. You heard it here first. But yeah, so next up is Comfortably Numb, Blues Harvest featuring Mike Quinn.
Is there anybody in there? Just nod if you can hear me. Is there anyone at home? Come on now. I hear you're feeling bad, but I It's just a little pinprick. There'll be no more. But you might feel a little sick. Put your hand up. I do believe it's working good. With Ray and Finn and Poe. Don't forget Flando. There is no pain, you are receding. A distant Death Star on the horizon. You are only coming through in waves. My lips flap, but you can't tell what I'm saying. When I was a child, I caught a fleeting glimpse out of the corner of my eye. I turned to look, but it was gone. I cannot put my finger on it now. The child has grown, the dream has come. I have become comfortably numb.
So that leaves us just to say a big thank you very much to Andy, Nick, and Jess from Blues Harvest. As we said before, you've been very busy in lockdown. What are you up to next? What's on the agenda? Where can everyone find you online? Various projects that you're involved with, and where can we get the album, most importantly?
So the album will be available on all streaming platforms. We're just going for a digital-only release at the moment. Once we start gigging again, we'll maybe see our way into physical release that we can sell at shows. And you can find all information from our website at www.bluesharvest.co.uk or on our Facebook page at Blues Harvest Band.
As far as I'm concerned, for those of you that don't know, I draw Star Wars Adventures comics for IDW, and because
and you write them as well?
And write them. Because of the situation with the COVID, things have altered in terms of like schedules and publishing schedules and delivery schedules and things like that. But things are slowly ramping back up. So people that buy Star Wars Adventures and Star Wars comics in general, IDW are still going to be producing Star Wars comics. I'm working on 3 at the moment. I'm working on the 3rd installment of the Vader's Castle series with Cavan Scott. So that's coming out around Halloween time again. As well, I'm working on, well, I don't think I can announce that one. I'm working on another Star Wars title.
Damn, nearly got an exclusive.
I can announce that I'm doing a story for Star Wars Adventures Annual 2020, and that is the return of IG-88. So it's a story that sees him come up against a character unlike any that you've ever seen in Star Wars, and I can say that categorically. So yeah, look out for that. That's going to be around September. So keep a lookout on the solicits on the CBRs and on the comic book solicitation sites and blah blah blah, previews, all that stuff, and keep an eye open for those because they will be arriving this year. So yeah, keep your eyes open for Star Wars comics from IDW and from myself.
Whereabouts can folks find your artwork, Nick? You've obviously done stuff for Panther Tracks in the past, which is fantastic. You drop gorgeous artwork almost on a daily basis. So where can guys find you?
If you can find me on Facebook under Nick Brokenshire Comics and Illustration. I do a lot on Instagram, Nick Brokenshire, and I do have a website, nickbrokenshire.co.uk, which I update every couple of months, every few months. So yeah, I mean, if you type in Nick Brokenshire Comics, you'll find me. So
Nick turns up at your door.
Yeah, I'll just, yeah. With the gear on, the plastic gloves and all that.
That's where they've all gone. And Andy, Pop-Up Puppets.
Pop-Up Puppet Cinema, yeah. With like Blues Harvest, we've had to cancel a lot of shows this year, unfortunately. But we have been working behind the scenes on some new puppet shows. For people who don't know, Pop-Up Puppet Cinema recreates movies in puppet form. And again, we get to do a lot of conventions and Comic Cons and things like that. So look forward to getting back to it. You can find more about us just by searching Pop-Up Puppet Cinema or Puppet_Cinema on Twitter.
Cool. So thank you again to Andy, Nick and Jess. And don't forget, as we may have mentioned, Blues Harvest have got a new album out, Made in Space. Available now from all good streaming platforms and probably some disreputable ones as well.
Hey, that's when you know you've made it. When you reach
the when people are pirating your material, that's when you're big. Yeah. So thanks again, guys, and we look forward to hearing more from you in the future. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, a Star Wars fan, Panther Tracks fan.
Thanks for listening to Desert Planet Discs. If you want to stay part of the action and up to date on all the latest Star Wars news, check out the Panther Tracks app via the App Store on your mobile device.
You can contact us via email at radio@panthertracks.com. Comment, like and share on any of our social media feeds at Panther Tracks, and be sure to subscribe, leave a review, preferably a 5-star one, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcatcher or smart speaker of choice.
Don't forget to head to panthertracks.com/radio, home of Panther Tracks Radio, and follow us on our social media feeds at Panther Tracks, and bookmark panthertracks.com for all the latest in Star Wars news.
Coming up next on Panther Tracks Radio, it's Making Tracks.